All right, we are recording. What is up, people? Welcome to the GrownAGeeks channel. My name is Jeffrey Taylor, and today we have a very special show, one we just kind of came up with out of the blue. But before we get into the details about the show, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, hit the QR code, join the Facebook group. We need all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Help pump us up in the algorithm. But I have two of my other, favorite contributors on the channel with me today. I got Teresa. Teresa, what's up?
Not too much.
And then I got my guy, Cashmere the Pro.
Cashmere the hater.
Woo, the professional hater.
And that's just what we're going to get into. So if anybody's watched any of our previous shows, RG has a gift to find things to hate in the most interesting and unexpected places sometimes. And we all as a group we discuss the many levels of things that we enjoy, don't enjoy, but I think there's one that Teresa and I have definitely wanted to get at RG's throat about. And since everybody wasn't able to hop on tonight, we're going to pivot away from our usual content and just really dive in. It's not going to be like therapy, but it's going to be more like a tag team match, me and Teresa versus RG, and why he hates Marvel.
RG and my cat.
Yeah,
The cat likes Marvel. He's on our side.
Started. He might be a flirkin.
He might be. Oh wow. He bites like he eats everything like one. So
yeah, if you've watched the show, Teresa, huge Marvel fan, in the movies especially. Myself, I've talked extensively about my love for Marvel, the work I've done with them in the past, et cetera, et cetera. RG, you seem like there was a time where you did like Marvel, and then something happened, something shifted, and now it just kind of seems like they have an uphill battle when it comes to getting you to like and enjoy things. So would you care to take the floor and just expound on that just a bit? Explain to us, what happened.
I'm glad. I'm glad. This is like a session of therapy. It's my own personal therapy, or at least with people who do understand the culture of the movies and why I am so disappointed. I'm just heavily disappointed, right? So, without question, obviously the Thanos era, the um, Infinity Saga era, everything leading up to that, definitely way more highs than lows. Okay. We obviously have, we got a couple in there that, a couple of stinkers in there. But for the most part, very well done. The characters were engaging. I was rooting for them. I connected with each one of them. So the writing was well. It was thought out. They had a plan and they stuck to it and they executed. Love that. But for some reason, after that, they just went to crap. I'm sorry, they just went to crap. It was just when you have to add, to me, if you have to advertise an aspect, if you have to advertise your cast instead of the actual movie, it's going to take away from it, right? Because now I'm focused on the cast because you wanted me to focus on the cast. That's what you advertise. So now I'm focused on them. Well, how good of a job are they doing? And how good is the script? And does them be having that role actually have anything to do with why the movie's good or not? And a lot of times that ain't have nothing to do with why the movie was good or not. Okay. They did this whole thing on Eternals, and it was like, okay, well, that was a probably naturally occurring thing given the diversity of the characters themselves, right? You didn't need to advertise it. So you get them there, and then you write this corny movie where it's not cohesive. It's just you're trying to get me attached to 6-7 different people. Then you introduce terrible. This again, this my goes into my second biggest gripe with Disney and Marvel. Terrible villains, just terrible villains. Almost every villain is just morally ambiguous. It's just, and I'm evil, but I got a reason for it. And no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to hate the villain. And so those are the two. I'm saying those are the main two. Obviously, you know, I can get into deeper detail, but those are the two main reasons. It's just stop advertising the cast, keep it focused on the plot, keep the writing good, and give me some bad villains. Give me some bad villains.
Go ahead, Teresa. Let them have it.
No, no, I'm not gonna let them have it. But for your first gripe with I mean, you picked the stinker to describe your first level of hatred. I mean, there are people who love Marvel like I do who also hate the Eternals, because
Yeah,
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't think anybody's gonna be caping for Eternals in any way.
All right, I might have picked the wrong one. Good point.
I feel like it's gonna be like an unspoken thing. Like we just gonna pretend like that was in a completely separate and different universe than everything else that we know, and leave it be.
Okay,
right.
There we go. But
and I would also, well, not also, but I would like to get some other examples of them advertising the cast as opposed to the storyline. So what comes to your mind when you think of what that gripe that you have with Marvel?
I would say they do that more with the shows, right?
Okay.
So there's always this aspect of, I mean, obviously Acolyte is fresh in memory. And that just seemed to be the entire initial press tour was really just
Marvel.
about the cast.
Yeah, that's not Marvel.
That's not Marvel.
Disney.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Disney. I'm sorry. I went to my bad. Holy cow. Yes, I'm sorry. Tangent. Whoop. My bad.
Objection.
Okay. So they did it with Miss Marvel. Although, so okay. Because this is why I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to bring up Miss Marvel because, in all honesty, it was a very valid introduction, right? And it's worthy of an announcement, right? I'm not going to. I can't really hold Miss Marvel against them because I feel like that was a worthy announcement. Seeing a Muslim American, you know what I'm saying, hero, and she was also, a popular comic book hero as well. She was popular in the comic books, not big, but we knew who she was. We knew about Kamala Khan. So
I mean, considering how long ago she came out, she's had like a meteoric rise in terms of popularity for like a new comic book character. I would say in terms of new Marvel characters, probably the only character more popular than her that's been created since the year like 2000 is Miles Morales.
Okay, understood.
But I think we can see why both of them would have such a meteoric rise.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
True. But then you have that. Okay, I don't know if they advertise it, so maybe you'll just poke the gigantic hole in one of my gripes. All right, that was pretty quick. So, but
you don't know if they advertise what?
I'm not going to say they did it that much. No, not for Miss Marvel, because like I said, I think they did advertise cast for Miss Marvel, but the portions of it about cast, and going the diversity route was legitimate in that case because of there was a lot of unique
source material,
character points about the character itself, and their background and their culture did come into play. Like it so that's legitimate. It did kind of it all worked out. It made sense along with with the plot. I actually enjoyed Miss Marvel's her show. So that one's not. But Secret Wars was an abomination. It was just the most
You mean what was the Secret Invasion?
Secret Invasion. There you go, Secret Invasion. That come on, man, come on, big arm girl. Really, that's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing. Everybody's a super scroll. They, it,
I
the
mean,
writing
isn't
was
that the
all
plot
over
of
the
Secret War?
place. No, well, Secret Invasion, I guess, but not Secret
Yeah, that's what I
Wars.
mean.
But
Secret
yeah,
Invasion, not Secret Wars.
yes. I mean, yeah, but not that way. It's not.
So what's the gripe with Secret Invasion? Is it the stars, like you were saying, or are we talking about bad writing? Because once again, just like with the Eternals, I think you pick. I mean, I think you grabbed the stinkers.
So do
Yeah,
you? So that's so you didn't like Secret Invasion either.
I did not like Secret Invasion as much as the rest of Marvel,
Okay.
I
but
did not
I
hate it as
tend
much
not
as
to
everybody
hold
did.
them. You did or you didn't?
I didn't. I didn't. It's like I'll probably not gonna go back and watch it again. But I
Right,
wasn't
Mhm.
like watching it like, oh my god, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It was kind
right.
of like,
Because I like Marvel so much, I feel like even the ones that aren't that riveting, that aren't an epic, they still have a purpose.
yeah, yeah. That was gonna be the point that I made. Like, I think that when you look at Marvel and what they're doing, right? Like, they have had everything kind of separate. Like TV and movies were separate. They like alluded to things, but there wasn't like these are all canonical things happening. So like Agents of
Mhm.
Shield, the Netflix shows was all kind of represented, but like separate from what was happening like on the big screen.
Right.
And I think like what I realized about those shows was the purpose was to show like a different level or a different part of that. So I'm not getting hung up on like stuff not overlapping and where's Captain America when all this stuff is going on. It's like he's somewhere. Like where is he when Spider-Man got his stuff going on? Where like that's kind of one of them straw man arguments where it's like, well, if we're gonna ask that, then like let's just not make any comic book movies because you'll never have the explanation as to why Superman doesn't show up in every single Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, whatever movie. You know what I
Right.
mean? But I think like what Teresa was saying, if you vote like I think what I enjoy is like, okay, now we're just building out other parts of this world. Maybe
Hmm.
people don't enjoy the Marvel world as much
Hmm.
as they think that they do. And I think that what Marvel has moved away from is this idea that you have to see every single thing to know what's going on. Like, because there's no way that that's sustainable for any part of your audience. Your audience now is everybody in America. Like, you got black people, you got black grandmas watching Marvel now because of Black Panther. You got white
Hmm.
grandmas watching because of Chris Evans. You got people overseas. You got Muslims watching now. You got you know what I'm saying? You really are touching on every single demographic, and especially if Disney is your parent company, that is a motivating factor because it's
Hmm.
all about getting the consumer dollars and maximizing that. However, they recognize that every property is not for every demographic. And
True.
I think a lot of times as comic fans and as males who are part of or just outside of that like coveted demographic, like
Hmm.
we have a hard time when it's not for us. We have a hard
Hmm.
time just being like, okay, well, this is a teen show and I don't like teen shows, so this is probably why I'm not enjoying this. Or
Right.
this is a family show and I don't watch a bunch of family shows, so that's probably
Right.
why I'm not enjoying this. Now, it's a family show set in the Marvel universe, but it's still a family show at its core. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I think if whereas with the movies, I think the ideology really was like we're telling this like big chunk of a story that has kind of something for everybody. So even if you have something like a Guardians of the Galaxy, yes, it probably leans more humor, but it has romance, it has serious stuff, it has family stuff, has everything baked into it. And when you look at all of the Marvel films, they have like multiple themes baked in, whereas the shows and the other supplementary stuff kind of has more like niche focus. So if that niche
Mhm.
focus is not something that you like, my only argument sometimes is like that doesn't make it bad. That just
Right,
means it's not your thing.
right,
And I say
right.
that as somebody, I'm always on here talking about, I love shows about like high schools and like teenage relationships, friendships, like how they
Mhm.
navigate their formidable years. I think that that's like a fascinating uh part of America for people to try to like capture and recreate on television.
Mhm.
But if you don't watch that kind of stuff, that would be like me. Like I don't like drug stuff, so I don't watch like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Like if
Right.
there was a Marvel show that was like about a drug dealer, like Echo was cool, but it felt very like Breaking Badish. So I'm like,
Mm.
outside of the fights, I'm like, I'm not like loving this. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right,
because it's not even like a Daredevil where it's like, okay, we know we getting like full blown like martial arts,
right.
like all the time. I'm into that drug stuff. Being out in the country with family problems and meth heads is not. That's not my idea of a good evening in front of the television. So I think we got to be able to look at Marvel a little more compartmentalized genre wise, because they are trying to reach a consumer now that the traditional Marvel consumer never dreamed Marvel would ever like care about reaching in a
True,
lot of ways.
true. I cannot disagree with anything that you said. Everything that you said is 100% on point. And I think that's my issue with current Marvel, right? So pre-Infinity, pre-Endgame Marvel, it was cohesive. The movies and the shows had something connecting them in some way, shape, or form. And that you kind of understood Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going on between, these various movies. They didn't need to bring anybody in from the movies because, like you said, they brought it on another level. They brought it down to earth. We're looking more at, these are not, world ending threat level issues that you're dealing with. This is, we're on the dirty end of the espionage table here, so
Yeah.
I definitely liked what it did, what the way they did that. And Coulson was the connective tissue between the movies and the show, right? But then
Yeah.
you had the Netflix shows, which there's kind of an understanding. This is still going on in this universe.
Right.
They randomly reference something, so you kind of understand. You don't feel totally disconnected from the blockbusters that you just seen. After that, the issue is that you're making it homework. I gotta get Disney Plus and I have to watch WandaVision so I can better understand, a multiverse of madness. Since when we started doing that? Like, I shouldn't have to be, television shouldn't be required viewing. Go ahead, Teresa.
No, I was just gonna say, since Disney Plus came along, they
Right.
want you to get Disney Plus and to watch WandaVision
Mm-hmm.
before you go see um what is it? Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Now you
Well, and the
don't
thing about it, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
I was just gonna say you don't 100% have to. You could enjoy the movie. You're not gonna you just didn't get the build up, but you can, enjoy the movie, but that's what they want. Just like they want to appeal to everybody with the
Mm-hmm.
Miss Marvels and the Miles Moraleses. They want, like Jeffrey said, their target audience is everybody with a wallet, basically.
Right.
So now they're targeting everybody as opposed to the smaller population of the comic book reader who was basically a guy, a dude, a
Right.
youngish guy. And
Mhm.
they discovered that they can not only get the youngish guy's money, they can get everybody's money.
True.
So, I mean, they
and
want
and and,
to get
and what those
Disney
young
Plus and
guys
to
don't
watch that.
understand, and what those
Mhm.
young guys don't understand is all those people that they get annoyed by who aren't real fans because they just see the movies. Those are the people that are actually keeping like the comic book companies lights on. Because
Right.
Right.
like Marvel has gone bankrupt before. The
Hmm.
whole
Oh
reason why they
yes.
didn't have the rights to their X-Men characters and Spider-Man to make the movies when they started making movies is because they had to do a crazy deal to get money
Right.
to
They had
like
to sell them
not
off.
fold.
Yep.
So as much as you wanted to just be about the art and the pure fun of it all, like it's business too. And
Mhm.
like being inclusive pays.
True.
Like
Right.
and I think my other pushback is like I think a lot of times like people see, you'll see like the Marvels, it's three women, and it's like that's not the only thing that they were selling about that movie when they were promoting
Right.
it. It was
Right.
a major factor, but the reality is when women see women on the poster, when women see women in the movies, not just as a sidekick, but as the focus, they spend
Mhm.
bread. They spend bread on films, going to see the movies, and they also spend bread on products, t-shirts, posters, make like product categories that we don't have on the men's side.
Mhm.
Right.
Like
I
there's
got the
no
Marvel's Lounge Fly.
exactly
Allow me
purses
to retort. The numbers don't support that though.
don't
The
support
weakest
what
ones that women go see those movies. The weakest performing Marvel entities that or releases that they've done have been the ones where
box
they've
office.
pushed that narrative.
But you know why?
Box office. I'm talking consumer products as well as box office.
But the reason the
Okay.
Marvel doesn't do the money that Captain America Civil War did was because the women will go see Captain America Civil War too, along with the guys. I saw Captain America Civil War as well as, everybody else, the comic book
True.
guys and whatever. The comic book guys didn't see the Marvels because they saw three women on the poster and they were mad.
I wouldn't
And one of
necessarily say
whom
it was,
one of
well,
whom who
that
they
was a
don't
fun.
like how she be talking to people, even though there's nothing wrong with, in my opinion, how she what she said. People just took it, ran with it. But either way, it's like I'm cool with it, but I think people just got to be honest about it. Like if
Yeah.
people tried to make like with the Marvels, people tried to make it like a quality issue, and it's like actually it's a
Mm.
good movie.
It was a good
Like
movie.
just keep it a
Right.
just you
Right.
keep it a buck. Don't be
Mhm.
scared. Like just say I
Right.
ain't like Brie. I don't like Brie Larson's attitude. So it's hard for me to watch her as Captain Marvel because people try to talk about her depiction and it's like, fam, have you ever read any comic book where Captain Marvel shows up? This is
Right.
how
She's
she
dry as
shows up.
hell. Yeah.
She's not coming in caring about anybody's feelings because who really is going to check her? Like, yeah, Captain
No.
America, you the leader, but like I'll punch a hole in your chest, bro. Like if we keeping it a buck. So like
Right.
True.
so
Yeah. You
that
got a point.
and in that community that bothers people
Yes.
and
But
people
here's the
don't
thing.
want to deal with that. They
But it's the
want they
same
want they
principle.
want bathing suit red sash Captain Marvel. They don't want
Yes,
flight suit mohawk
we
Captain
do.
Marvel. Yeah.
We do. But
And
so to just say you're you're both right. Like I acknowledge that. It is about money, right? Like it is Disney wants to make the bread. Disney wants to get that money. They want you to get Disney Plus. They want you to watch the shows. They want you to do that. They're in it before the bottom line. Totally understand that. I got you. But you're gonna have to understand that if you're you're still going to get the criticism for not making it standalone, for not making it. Watching Multiverse of Madness and understanding why Wanda all of a sudden had a fascination with two boys, what is weird if you did not see, WandaVision. That her again, the villain's motivation requires homework. You gotta watch the show. So that is where it's like, come on, man. Like, I get it, and I get it, right? You could have, let's say, made WandaVision a movie, right? If WandaVision was a movie, we would have had to watch that, right? And get it. So I there's ways to
I think
to work around
I think
it.
they definitely was feeling themselves a little too much with how interconnected everything became. But I think that they have begun to right that ship with the way that the last few things have like come together. Even like a Secret Invasion is like, the whole purpose of that is just to like show us that, like, okay, we've seen the scrolls. If you were a man who actually went to see either of the Captain Marvel movies, you are familiar
Right.
with the scrolls. But if not, here's something for you that'll introduce you to who they are and maybe like an issue of why they might become a problem. We've seen the Kree a whole bunch of times. We haven't necessarily like gotten into like the Inhumans per se, like in the movie sphere.
We
But
haven't got a good version of the Inhumans.
Well, I just mean like even with like what they were doing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where like
right,
people were finding out if they're not. I don't mean the official Inhumans black bolts. Yeah, yeah. We don't have to talk. We treat that like the Eternals. We'll treat that like the Eternals. Does not exist. But I think like I do agree that they got too like, oh, you got to see every single thing that we're doing in order for you to get what's going on. And I think when you look at stuff business wise, a lot of that stuff was when Bob Iger was gone, and a lot of that stuff was when Kevin Feige had kind of taken a step back from being so hands-on and everything. So now that he's back, you saw they slashed a bunch of stuff from their calendar or pushed stuff out. And they have separate entities over the different things that they have going on. So they have Marvel Animation, Marvel Television, and Marvel Studios now. So it's not just one voice pushing the entire narrative for everything. I mean, it's Kevin Feige holding it all together, but television people gotta do television. And a lot of what I think people were feeling in a lot of the shows was, this is just a movie cut up into pieces. That's what like Secret Invasion kind of felt like. Yeah. It's like this is a like mediocre spy movie, but y'all added a bunch of stuff in so to stretch it out to be like a show. And I mean, I think honestly, what is so bad about having just like a movie that just comes out on Disney Plus? Like, just make a little 1.5 hour movie to explain this little plot point that people either can or don't have to see, but it introduces something, and
they don't have a
just
plan.
Gives further insight. I think that they have one now.
I mean, I hope so. That's my issue. I think you got to have a plan to execute that.
But here's the thing: they're still making good things. I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's good things in there.
The Marvels, like Moon Knight. The Marvels was good. Moon Knight was good. Echo was decent. It was decent.
I liked Echo.
I think She-Hulk misunderstood.
I actually liked She-Hulk. I completely loved She-Hulk. She was true. To me, she was true to the comic. Like, yes. You know what I'm saying? She's a kind of a third wall breaker herself, just not as heavy as Deadpool is. Yeah. And her character is not she doesn't take herself seriously. Except when she's fighting. you know what I'm saying?
And she's gotten to be the actual Hulk.
Right.
And it's just like, fam, That was another case of, it's like, fam, do you like weird workplace quirky, like, did you watch New Girl? If you didn't watch New Girl, then like you're not gonna like She-Hulk, because She-Hulk is basically Marvel New Girl. She's awkward, she's weird, she's self-conscious about her body, and then she turns into like one of the sexiest women on the planet, who's like twice everybody's size. Like, yeah, I don't expect a bunch of like dudes who hang out in comic book shops and on message boards all day long to understand the nuance of the comedy in that show. Like, you don't be around girls, you don't listen to women, you do, so you don't get the show. So it's not even about being good. You don't even have the like capacity to give analysis on this because you don't know what you're looking at. But like, it's also a demographic that would never admit something like that because there's nothing that goes over their heads.
Very true. Yeah,
just a world full of comic book Simpsons guys. I mean, Guardians was good. Maybe we take a break from Ant-Man's. Maybe we take a break from Thor's.
Yes, because see, that's another thing they screwed up, right? They screwed up the Ant-Man movie, and again, homework. It's understandable if you watched Loki, right? You got a bit more. They got to stop it with the homework, right? I feel like what they bank on is, people really like the show. Show was awesome. All right, let's link that up to the movie a little bit. You know, and then they lost the whole character.
Well, that actually, I feel, benefited them. See, that was one of those moves where you could tell it was a money move by showing us the villain up front, because they looked at how, you don't know how much money they made on Infinity Gauntlets and Thanos t-shirts. Like, it was printing money by the time it got to Endgame. But like what they forgot, which I said on our episode of Therapy where we covered Marvel, Teresa was on the episode, go watch it on GrownAGeeks channel. What we said was Thanos, up until the very end, up until he actually came into the action, he was more just like, he's just somebody sitting down randomly in Guardians, a random end of cut screen at the very end after the credits, back when people didn't even know you were supposed to stay all the way to the end of the credits. So it wasn't like this thing of like, day one, we're fighting Thanos. It's like, we don't even know who this is, bro. Day one is just random aliens and Loki. And I think they threw Jonathan Major's character out there too fast.
Okay.
And they didn't focus on getting us to like the heroes and getting us to like, how before it was like we met Iron Man, Captain America, Rhodey, Thor. We met our heroes, but it's like we've met a villain before we met a bunch of the heroes. So that's why I'm excited for what's coming up. I'm excited for Sam Wilson's movie. I'm excited for Thunderbolts. I think Marvel could use some irreverent, like, I feel like that's going to be like their Suicide Squad, where it's just like a random thing where it's like, if you're a character who does good in whatever movie you get introduced in, but you don't quite make sense for Avengers, you'll find your way on that Thunderbolts team, and that'll tide us over until we get to X-Men.
Yeah, and you might have a point. I think that's probably what they're saving up for, because obviously we're going to get, Doom. And so they got to really put a lot of thought into how you're going to introduce Doom.
Yeah.
Because they screwed up with the movies. I mean, you started off Black Widow.
That movie was good.
The action was good. The action was good. I like the action of the movie. But
I think that Florence Pugh and Scarlett Johansson did a very good job of playing two dysfunctionally distant sisters who like had weird competition. Like, I think
it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's what bad villain. Bad villain.
What bad villain? The main villain or Taskmaster?
They screwed up Taskmaster.
How?
Because Taskmaster is way harder than they tried. The Taskmaster nerf is ridiculous.
What you mean?
Taskmaster's pretty freaking powerful in the comic. Like,
Yeah.
skilled. You know what I'm saying? Like, incredibly skilled.
Okay.
There's no way the both of them would have handled the real Taskmaster. Now, okay, yeah, I'm being nerdy. I'm going into my full nerd. It's not like a comic book.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Self-awareness is key.
Yeah. Because
So
the movie's
yes,
called Black Widow, not Taskmaster.
true, but just make
All
the
right, all right.
villain bad, right? You could have had, instead of having Taskmaster. Ooh, we're gonna have fun with that one on the bloopers, but you could have just had Taskmaster be the villain. It didn't have to be the director of the the Black Widow Club. It didn't have to be that. It could have just been Taskmaster. You could have figured out some way to do that. You're changing lore anyway. Just make Taskmaster the head of the
Taskmaster's
thing.
backstory is not so important and canonical that it's got to be the exact person in. They've done this numerous times before.
That's not why.
That's not characters.
That's not why. It is a dilution of the villain.
How?
You gotta have me go through two different people. Okay, so we're fighting Taskmaster. This is the final fight. This is the final boss. This is the boss fight. But you're not the boss.
Taskmaster's not a boss.
But the fight is, right? The fight is a boss fight, right? Except you have
Taskmaster always works for somebody who can't fight. That's his only purpose. So he's always going to be in the boss fight.
Her only purpose.
Well, whomever. Taskmaster, Taskmistress, whomever is always going to be the person in the boss fight because they are literally only hired by people who could never find themselves in the boss fight. So it's like with Taskmaster, I have this conversation with Sam a lot too. Like the Marvel universe, movie universe, has been woven to a place of self-sufficiency.
True.
To where the comic books at this point, in terms of source material, does not have to be like exact.
True.
And I think like when you bring characters into the movie world, you have to introduce that character in a way that actually makes sense for the movie world, not necessarily for the comic book world that you're pulling that character from, because you're adapting, right?
True.
With Taskmaster, maybe I understand like the complaints about the costumes, and that's nitpicky. That's just people finding whatever, because people ain't like the movie costumes look close, but they always look real and tactical feeling, and just get over it. This Marvel universe is not no spandex universe. Like, get over it. I feel like that villain makes sense because of what it is, right? It's like not only is it hand-to-hand combat, which is like Black Widow and White Widow's right up their alleyway, but now she's fighting against people who have copied her friends and people who she's lost, people who she fought beside. So that is also what she's fighting. And Black Widow's character is always about fighting her past, fighting her demons, as well as she fights forward in real life, she's fighting backwards to like kind of get to a place before she was turned into a monster or whatever it is she thinks about herself. But like people don't have that. People don't take the time to like come up with that kind of insight to understand why Taskmaster was chosen. And then if you understand that, then of course Taskmaster is someone who came out of the same program as her. But if you just coming from it from a standpoint of like, I'm just looking at Taskmaster as a floating amoeba of a character out here all on its own without context, or if I'm trying to use context from like another media to describe how this character should be brought to life in this other like form, yeah, of course you're not going to be satisfied with anything but like a direct like make. That's like the people who
Right.
complain about the fight scene in Civil War and they show like the comic book page and then they show like 8 people at an airport in Germany. It's like time out, fam. When them 8 motherfuckers got down in that movie, when I was in that movie theater and saw them get down, I was hyped. And
Yeah.
I had read the comic.
Yeah.
That comic page didn't make sense. We didn't even have 20 superheroes that were like out and known at
Thank
that
you.
time.
Thank you.
So when we start talking about being faithful to adaptations, it's like, yes, but also you have to be faithful to the world that you have also already built.
Yes. Yes.
And so now Taskmaster is back. And she gonna go crazy. Like that's why I'm excited for Thunderbolts. Because that like I think that they're getting back to like the action of it. I think like they did the Taika Waititi and the humor and the weird and the this and that. And I think like right now they are making sure they always have action infused properties alongside those properties that bring other things in. I have a question I want to ask Teresa though. And I want your perspective on this because you are a woman. And I respect your opinion about these things. You always keep it real. Or I'll say I want your perspective on this first because you're a woman, and I would like for that perspective to kind of set the tone on how this conversation goes. Because obviously the fanboys feel left out. They're feeling left behind. It's too much girl power. It's too much black power. It's too much brown power. It's too much curry and hot sauce and all kinds of flavors and seasonings going on in they Marvel, and they are not happy about it. And when I look at, the lineup, the potential follow-up lineup of what maybe our next generation of Avengers would be, even when I look at this lineup of Thunderbolts, there's a lot of women represented for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like, but I don't see who are going to be those, I guess, prominent male heroes that will anchor that core audience, like you said, that will go see the Civil War. Do you feel like Marvel like swung the pendulum too far, whether it's in a business sense or whatever, away from kind of their core audience to kind of reach that new audience? And like, are they just being babies, or do they kind of have a point in being like, where are the white men? Because we talk about we want representation,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this next round because, like, yeah, they had all the representation the first time, the big 3.
Mm-hmm.
Even the green one was really a white one.
Right.
So, but on this go round, it's like white dudes who are left. None of the motherfuckers in it's like Peter Parker.
Right.
I mean, I can certainly see how, the fanboys might be feeling left out, left behind. And I don't know about, and maybe we are kind of like the polar opposite of where we used to be.
But get over it.
Not necessarily get over it, because where we started.
Quit being a little bitch.
Don't like it, do you? Don't like it.
No, because where we started with Captain America. Y'all stop laughing because I don't know what you're laughing at.
We still the same thing. Yeah, we good.
Okay. So we started with the Captain Americas and the, not plural because there was just one, and the Iron Man and the Thor and your Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And to be perfectly honest, whereas now what I'm being drawn in toward is the, the Marvels. The what's her name? Photon.
Photon, Miss
Yeah,
Marvel,
Monica.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica. Yeah, I'm drawn to her because I see myself in her.
Right.
I'm drawn to Miss Marvel because I see the awkward, the awkwardness, that geek
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
her. I'm drawn, of course, to everything Wakanda because it's blackity black. But what I was drawn to in the beginning, and I'm just gonna give it to you, B100 was, Captain America's Chris Evans.
Yeah, she was
Iron
drawn
Man
to
is Robert
America's
Downey
ass.
Jr. And I love me some Robert Downey Jr. Thor, I mean, look at him. It's so that's what I was being drawn in for before. I'm drawn
Thank
in
you.
now because I can see myself in these people. So I do think that we need to combine the two, maybe not swing the pendulum all the way to where everybody is only there because they are black or female or Muslim or whatever, because I still need my eye candy.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. Some some of us are just basic. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we watch these shows and watch these movies and watch this media, and it's escapism. I mean, we're watching superheroes. So while at the same time I appreciate representation, what I don't like is when everything that you release becomes a self-insert of the director or the writer or the showrunner. I don't want that. I don't want to hear your story unless your story is super compelling and in some so dramatic way that you can relate it to these superheroes that we're watching. I didn't have an issue at all. So, for example, I like The Marvels. I think The Marvels was a good movie, right? But what's my issue with The Marvels? Who the hell is Monica Rambeau? I still don't know. I done seen it twice. I got a couple of, she's got a couple of minutes of airtime in WandaVision, and then she turns around and now she's in this movie. Who is she? I mean, like, who is she? Who is the character? What would you describe about her? What is her motivation? Is she just, I'm just a company woman and I got these powers now and I work for, I work for Sword now and this is what I do and I'm happy to do it because my mama knew Miss Marvel and all this other stuff, and they wanted to expand on that relationship, right? I'm just saying, who is she? Like,
that's the thing.
Is she out of the comic book?
Yes.
No, yeah, she's legit. She's a legitimate character. I don't mean like who is she from the perspective of who is the character she's playing. I mean, who is she as a person when I watch it, right? So there are things that we know about. You could even say right now, for example, like Miss Marvel. You know what you know about Miss Marvel? You know she's awkward. You know she's awkward. You know she's a big fan of Captain Marvel. You know she's you know those things about her. I'm losing the words for it, and my phone is distracting the hell out of me. Sorry, but these are the things that we know about her. What do we know about Captain Marvel? Well, we know she's overconfident. We know that sometimes she can be, well, not overconfident. I'm sorry, my bad. Not overconfident, my bad. We know that
I was like, no, she definitely blew up that spaceship.
She's appropriately confident.
She is, yes, she's appropriately confident. You know what I'm saying? She's highly confident. So knowing those things about her, you know what I'm saying? We know those things about these characters, right? But what do we know about Monica Rambeau's personality? Who is she as a person? What is her motivation? What are the things? Why is she doing the things that she's doing? That's what, you know what I'm saying? That's what we want to know about Monica. So make the characters more compelling. Give me some time to time
I'm
to
gonna say
do
this
that.
about Monica Rambeau. I think that her character is compelling But I think that for one, in the Marvels movie, she's not she's like second billing. Technically third because the other two have had a movie and their own TV show before where she
Right.
was a supporting actor in WandaVision.
Right.
But when we talk about Monica Rambeau, who is she? She's the little girl from Captain Marvel 1
Marvel.
who
Mhm.
watched her auntie fly off into space and say, I'll be right back, and then come back. She
Gotcha.
grew up into the woman who was sitting by her mother's bedside as she was dying from cancer and ended up blipping out and
Snap.
then coming back 5 years later and not knowing what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Having made her mission to be, she wanted to go into space and do all this other stuff like that. And all of her dreams happened in that 5 years while she was gone. So
Mm-hmm.
she's throwing herself into her career to try to move forward so she doesn't have to like look back and assess all the things that she's experienced. That's why she just without hesitation in WandaVision walks through the field or whatever that ends up giving her her powers because like she really don't give a fuck if she live or die. She's in it for the mission and to complete the mission. Because technically, what does she really have to live for? It's just her.
Right.
Her mama gone.
Okay.
She don't know where. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe she saw, maybe you know what I'm saying. Maybe she saw like on the news Captain Marvel fighting Thanos or whatever, but she ain't come check on her.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's why when you see her in the Marvels, even though you're expecting them to be like, "Oh, hey, hugging," it's like, no. Last time
Right.
you saw her, she was a little girl,
Right.
and you just popping up like you was there yesterday. She's not this little girl who like love like hangs on your every word
Right. Hey,
because your word
Auntie, I
don't
miss
your
you.
yeah your word don't mean shit.
Right. And that's the thing. I agree. Like that's a very I didn't necessarily think about it from that perspective of all those things that she was dealing with. I felt like they just didn't give it enough push in that movie, like explore that dynamic a little bit more, just devote a little bit more screen time to it, so
Yeah,
that
but
I
her
to
But her purpose in
reach.
that movie was not even about her purpose in that movie was not to realize and recognize her own power until the very end. Up until that point, she's a vehicle to get Carol to understand that like you leave a lot of shit behind when you like do all this stuff. You have to like actually reconcile with your past. You can't just like when shit don't go right, fly off to another planet, say you'll be back, and the only time you come back is when people trying to blow the planet up, and you'll come save us. But like we have a connection to you, we have a relationship with you, and you don't understand or nurture that portion of being a hero. You only nurture the like warrior part and the blowing stuff up part and the you know what I'm saying conquering whoever and helping like you help people out, but you don't relate to the people. And that's why you can't just show up and be like, hey, I'm gonna be like, hey, auntie, and run and jump in your arms. You talking about a leather jacket I was wearing when I was like 9 years old. Like, I'm
Right.
30. Like, I'm out here
Right.
drinking, smoking,
You don't
laying
miss
up
a
with
lot.
men. Like,
You
but
don't miss a lot.
I do think it's one of those things too where it's like, I think that this audience of core comic book fans have not done a lot of the work they need to do to unpack their own sexism and how they overlook or frame like female characters as well. Because a lot of the things that people complain of, like even when you say like she's overconfident, it's like that is a Captain Marvel buzzword, but it's like that's the whole point. People traded her in the first movie like she was overconfident. That's how Jude Law's whole point is like if you can't beat me without your powers, like you're nothing. And it's like, blast. I don't need to beat you without my powers. You know why? Because I got my powers and you don't. So like shut the fuck up. Like, and I think a lot of men felt that message, but didn't know they felt that message and were put off by it. Like they're put off. They would be put off by, like, even though he did turn out to be technically the villain in the end, they're put off by like him just being like, you have to do it on my terms, because that's how they have conversations. We've been in those conversations before where you have to prove your fandom and prove how much you know about something, because they don't expect somebody that looks like you to know what you know about the stuff that they like. And it's like, it's a big world. We all got internet. We like, they play Star Wars in black movie theaters too, Playboy. Like they put Blade in black movie theaters too, Ninja Turtle, like all that stuff. My TV turned to the same channels your TV turned to. I watched X-Men, you know what I'm saying? But so when you are encountered with these types of messages, it can feel like heavy-handed, but it really is the point of existence for the character. You know what I'm saying? Like the point of Miss Marvel existing is so that we have a conversation about like how different races engage, how would different races engage in being a hero? It's different. Like, she's a Muslim hero. She's never gonna have, like most superhero women, they have their sexy era costume.
Right.
She's never gonna have that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Riri Richards. The whole point of that character is to reframe how we think about like black women. They're not just a sassy sidekick. And the same thing with Monica Rambeau. Like she's smart. She's a pilot. Like she was not just like, so what do we do? It's like, I'm gonna do this, woo, 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 like But if you're not used to encountering the situation where a black woman is telling a white woman what she gonna do, you might be put off by that because it feels unrealistic, because you live in a country where that is not often the case. And even if you don't always acknowledge that, you've internalized it and it's impacted the way that you see things. So when you see that, you see it as woke, because it should happen like this, but it often doesn't. And now you got people feeling things and thinking about things, and they don't want to do that.
They don't want to.
They want to escape. But the whole point of the whole medium of comic books is to get people to think about what you would do with power. How would you treat people? Would you be a hero or would you be a villain? Like what would you do? And everybody assumes that, I would be Captain Jeffrey. And that's not the case. I'll probably be more like Magneto if it push came to shove. And I think a lot of these guys out here realize, I'm like, that's why I worry about the obsession with Joker, because those are the real crazy people who've like accepted and idolized the villain, like not even the anti-hero, just somebody who just is flat out like, I'm all about just pure chaos to the maximum level. Not like, let's just get crazy enough and then nobody dies. Like, no, people gonna die too. And that's and y'all walking down the stairs, kicking your leg up in a burgundy suit. That's cool. That's fun to you. That's funny to you. Ha ha. So I think, we probably could use a couple more like little white boys.
I don't,
the one they put in Agatha is not going to appease the audience.
No, not at all.
No. And that's not a man.
Wrong demographic.
That's not a man. That's a boy. That's a boy. So, there's a ton of opportunity for Marvel to expand, like really open up some things, with some black characters, with some more diverse characters. But I want some powerful ones. Like I want a blue Marvel, You know what I'm saying? I want somebody that, can really blow some shit up, like tear some shit down. Like, I want that. I want a Thor, right? I don't want to, I appreciate Sam, Falcon.
I don't
I
need the
appreciate
serum.
Falcon. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I
That
don't
dude
need
just
it, brother. You don't need to put that junk in your veins, brother. Be like me. Just say no.
you gotta do better.
Yeah.
Work
Fuck out of here.
just
Like,
terrible, right? Like, come
but if
on.
you don't give
I
me some
don't
of that
want that.
goddamn serum,
Steve was just fine. Steve was just fine. Like, so that's what I want. If you're gonna do it, I don't want these side characters. I don't want these weaker characters. I don't want these street level characters. I want somebody on a cosmic level. I want somebody powerful enough to protect the planet. I want somebody that can really, really make a difference. I don't, whenever I listen to people who offer up, especially white cats who offer up that, where they're projecting their insecurities and things like that, that does not remotely fade me, because I'm like, people been, scared of us for a reason, and scared of losing that power for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So when all of a sudden you have this superhero movie, and you had all these guys who you were looking up to now getting put in a place, yeah, like you said, it activates something. You know what I'm saying? So I want, Marvel has a lot of opportunity here in the future, but I mean, we're gonna get some more white cats, right? We're getting Fantastic Four, so we know where that's going.
Pedro Pascal.
Right? He's passing.
Yeah. All right.
He's passing, right? He's not going to be like,
all right. You think so?
Latin lover
let the sun go down.
Reed Ricardo. He's going to be Reed Richards, man. He's going to put on his best, customer service voice, and he's going to give them what they want. Yeah.
Where that's from? You ain't from around here, Pedro. You got too many Pedros around here.
Pedro Jenkins.
The Pascals. You know some Pascals? No, we don't know no Pascals. Okay.
He's that's the who they're banking on. So it's going to be interesting to see the response when he comes across the screen stretching his arms out, hugging that white woman, putting his arm around that white woman. So I look forward to that. I look forward to that. I will eat up the outrage as long as you give me a good movie. Just give me a good movie. I just want to enjoy a good movie without all the, without the. I don't want any other. I don't want a lesson. I don't want to learn shit. I want to learn shit from this movie.
But this is the thing. That's what Marvel is. All right, put it like this. All right, let's look at the makeup of like who the heroes are, and then we could probably get ready to, whatever. Well, let's look at the makeup of who the current like people they got. Mm-hmm. We got Kate Bishop, who everybody on the podcast hates. I get it, like whatever.
I'm good with Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. We got Miss Marvel, right? So we don't got White Widow because she on Thunderbolts. We got Peter Parker. We got the other two Marvel. Well, we got the other one Marvel because Photon is in the X-Men universe now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Fantastic Four, right? That's pretty much it in terms of who's out there. Oh, they bringing back Daredevil and all them too. So,
but he's street level.
The way it goes though, the way it's looking though, until Spider-Man gets in, it looks like Captain Marvel has Miss Marvel on the quest of assembling this next team. You're going to have to deal with the fact that there's going to be a girl trying to tell everybody what to do. And you're going to have to deal with the fact that they're going to address that in the movie. And they're going to address that with how different characters get told what to do by her, whether it's because she's young, because she's brown, because she's a girl, because whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes sense. People in the Marvel universe have problems with one another. Captain America and Iron Man had beef because Iron Man was like, "You a steroid using pill popping." He was talking to him like Kendrick. And Captain America's like, "Fam, you are a walking computer. Without that, I will punch a hole in your chest. And you propped up by money." This is the first meeting.
Oh yeah.
Did what I'm saying? Like, they had to get the classes and they had to get the whatever little penis swinging contest they had to get out the way. That's what they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
That also has to happen with the female characters too. That's part of the thing about Captain Marvel, Bree's Captain Marvel, that people don't like, because she do that part real good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, if it's time to get active, I'm not gonna have the problem.
So there you go. I'ma survive. I don't know about y'all.
And it's a lot of dudes that ain't used to dealing with no woman, that ain't worried about what you finna do to her.
That is true.
Because she got that thing for you.
That is true. That is very true.
And I think sometimes people see things in movies that's like, no, this is something that would actually happen, and people chalk it up to like a lesson. It's like, yeah, people learn lessons in life.
Mm-hmm.
People encounter sexism in life.
Mm-hmm.
People encounter racism in life. Being a superhero or being a whatever isn't going to exacerbate that issue. It only alters it. It recontextualizes it.
Right.
And so for people like us, when we go to like if you go to a movie and you see a black person do some shit that black people don't do, you like, what white person wrote this?
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's the same thing for female characters, the same thing for Muslim characters, same thing for brown characters. And honestly, it's the same thing for white characters. I kind of get why some of them dudes be mad, because people don't be coming around like that. People don't be seeing the error of their ways. They want these white characters to stay strong. So let them do that. Recontextualize it. Keep it real. Make U.S. agent racist. Because let's be real. It would have been the hard ER when he was talking to Sam up close.
Well, not remember
real life.
What? But he had his homie, his main
Bruh.
homie. His main homie was a bro.
You telling me a white man who was formerly in the military, who gets handpicked by the U.S. government to be the next Captain America, everybody rejects him. He gets his ass beat by some African warriors, and at the end of the movie, here come this black man with no powers, who they said they didn't want to do it, coming back and doing it better than me and inspiring everybody. Nah, bruh. He called him all kind of.
I could believe that because of the military. I could believe that just because it's a military thing.
Exactly.
And there's that band of brothers thing that they have going on, right? Like, here it is, him
Sam
and that
Wilson in the military too,
right? But that's why he didn't use the hard R.
We don't know. That ain't why. It's
No.
a Disney property. That Disney,
Right?
That's why he did it.
But see, that's the thing. I don't want that in my movie, man. That's a different movie. That's the HBO version of the movie.
Man, that's the movie.
I don't want the HBO.
But I'm saying that's what the white boys want. That's why they don't like this stuff, because all the white characters, they feel like soft and kowtow to the wokeness and the this and the that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't like Brie Larson because she stand with her back straight.
Mm.
They don't want that.
Right.
There's never going to be the episode where it's like, oh, here's Brie Larson falling in love and giving it all up for a man and all this other stuff for
Right.
Captain Marvel. None of the little weird trad wife fantasies that they have for blonde white women include them flying through outer space with cosmic power to do whatever the fuck they want to do. That is literally the antithesis of what they want their women to be doing. They're not inspired by that shit. The women are,
right.
and the younger women and younger consumers are, which is why they put something like that out, even though it doesn't like do what it's supposed to quote unquote do at the box office. They still put out them other 2 Star Wars movies, even though the money was going down. You know why? Because the girls liked Rey, and the girls like Captain Marvel, and the girls like Miss Marvel, and the girls like Monica Rambeau, and the girls like Wanda, and the girls like Agatha, and they like Gamora. Like, niggas gotta get over it. Like, you gotta get around some women and just get comfortable with it, because this is no longer the realm where all the women just gonna be scantily clad and fighting in things that no person in their right mind would ever show up to a battle in.
Gotcha.
Like,
sorry,
it's like Iron Man was Iron Man, Captain America was Captain America. Yes, a bunch of white dudes just like solving all the problems of the world, and that's great. That's really, really great. But you know what? That ain't gonna make the studio. That ain't gonna make the studio as much money as it is when they sprinkle some of these other demographics in and make other people feel included.
Well, I gotta agree. I hope that's what happens. But the box office is not showing the support.
But that's not. But who is it showing? I mean, MCU is Deadpool and Wolverine is MCU.
Yeah, but what is Deadpool and Wolverine not? It's not everything that you just said that we got upcoming that that people they're gonna have to deal with, right? It's not that powerful. It's not powerful women doing their thing, putting people in place.
Electra.
It's not that. I'm not saying that there's not very strong female characters in that, in that movie. There are.
Fam, Deadpool is a simp. Everything he has done in 3 movies has been for his woman.
Very true. I mean, I agree.
But the incels ignore that. They online, I ain't doing nothing for these women. This nigga died and went through time and went through the multiverse to impress his girl.
That is true. That is true. I mean, look.
Multiversal simping is crazy.
You're not gangster. You're not gangster. That is wow. Multiversal simping. I'm gonna yeah, I might have to make that a Facebook post. That was hard. That was a hard. I can't even defend my man on that one after that.
That's deep, yeah.
Like, damn, nigga, where are you? Wait, so you went to how many universes?
And Wolverine was just the emo sad boy. In this one, if we keeping it a buck.
But then doesn't that actually fit who they are? Right? Like technically they soft batch.
Yes, but that's not emotional, and that's not the way that the people who love those characters characterize them. Nobody who's a big Wolverine fan is like, yeah, man, I just love how he just emotional and sit around and cry over Jean Grey and how she just wants Scott all the time. That's what I connect with. They're like, no, this little nigga crazy. Don't nobody fuck with him. He's small and he beat everybody ass. He got no fear. He's unbreakable. Like, that's what people connect with. But that other stuff is still true.
Exactly. Yeah.
They fuck with Deadpool because he's irreverent. He's funny. He's Bill Murray in a fucking superhero costume. They love that. Right. But he also a simp. He's also homosexual or pansexual, whatever he is. All this other stuff that they get on, all these other groups and characteristics that these dudes who love Deadpool get on line every day and terrorize people for. Your favorite comic book character is all of these things. But you choose to ignore who they choose to ignore that when they go to the movie to see Deadpool, because he gonna be shooting people, he gonna be cutting people with swords, and he gonna be talking shit.
Right. Or maybe they're not ignoring it. Maybe it is a part of them. Closeted.
No, they're
right?
not.
Maybe it is a part. No, maybe they are simps. Maybe they are sensed.
So why can't
maybe,
you ignore?
Maybe they are emotional.
But why can't you ignore it when you see it in a character that does not like look like you? Because like when we talk about, we talk about all the things that people miss in these female characters or women characters, in these women characters that people are complaining about it getting too woke. But it's like the whole theme of Deadpool is the power of love and what it can inspire you to do. Mm-hmm. And you just like, yeah, he was killing. So you can ignore the lovey-dovey shit you don't care about when you're watching Deadpool, so you can focus on what you really like. But you can't ignore Brie Larson talking to a man in a way you don't like to watch her fly through 5 spaceships in like 5 minutes. And like she went to work in that movie.
Oh yeah.
In both movies.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, ugh, her attitude. She's overconfident. It's like, fam, she blew up 5 warships on her own. Yes, I don't know if she can be overconfident.
Right.
True. I guess you know what it is. I feel like she doesn't balance it out with effective humor. I mean, I may understand why. Like, I don't necessarily have an issue with it, like her being, super confident and, showing her skills. You know what I'm saying? Like, I totally understand it.
Let me ask this. You're talking about her humor. In the Marvels, when they show up on the musical planet and they find out she's like basically a Disney princess there.
Yes.
How did you feel about that scene?
I mean, it was a bit of a tone changer for me. So I got it. Like, I get it. I don't know what they were trying to elicit from me, man. Like, I was watching it like.
That was literally direct commentary to all the people who talk about how unfeminine she is, how unfeminine Brie Larson is and the character is. It's like,
okay.
She went to this planet, saved them, and they made her a princess. She's wearing the flowy dress. She's singing. She's dancing. She's doing all the things that you say a woman should do, and it's still not good enough.
The flowy dress that is
it's still not good enough
of her outfit, her fight suit.
Yeah. It's like, okay, like you don't want me fighting. You don't want me, you don't want me being big and bad. I'll flit around in this dress with the Prince Charming and I'll dance and I'll sing and I'll do all the things. I'll follow the rules. I'll follow the customs of the planet. And it's like, this shit still ain't good enough for niggas. They still, I don't know, man.
It's not good enough. And most of them didn't even see it because they saw 3 women headlining the movie and they called it a chick flick and they said they weren't interested and they didn't go see the movie anyway. And they went and Rotten Tomato bombed the movie and hadn't even seen it.
Yeah, I have no defense for those nerds. I don't know why people would do that. That's weird to me. I mean, it took me a minute to go see the Marvels. But again, my only issue with the Marvels was bad villain. That was my only issue with the Marvels. I liked all 3 of the characters. I mean, I like all, I like.
Who are some Marvel villains that you did like?
So let's see. I liked Ultron. I did like Ultron. I liked Loki as a villain. So I did like what he did, in the first Thor, him in the first Thor movie. Fucking obviously loved Warmonger, right? Just loved Warmonger. He was a great villain. Killmonger. Sorry, Killmonger. My bad. Holy cow. Fuck this whole shit up. But loved Killmonger. Of course, Thanos, he was, he's, but after that, they just didn't have any more.
All right, what about Hela?
Villains. Oh, I'm sorry. Hela was also a very good villain. Yes, so she was also a very good villain.
What did you
So
think
who are-
about? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, who were the ones, because I was kind of surprised that you included Killmonger. So who are the ones that you have issue with? We know you don't like
Okay.
Marvel.
So Red Skull was dull. Basically everybody in the every Iron Man villain is just weak as fuck. So, you know, they blew there was a lot of opportunity there with in the third Iron Man movie with those those villains, but the ones who had, I guess, what was it called, extremists or something like that, like so, but they blew the opportunity there with them.
I mean, Winter Soldier was a villain at first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Winter Soldier was very good as a villain in the Winter Soldier Captain America movie. The Dark Elves, just they kind of blew that one there. I mean, I did like the over the top evilness of them, but Marvel has a bad habit of taking characters that are really, really powerful, that like really, really should last. And they've even done this on the shows as well sometimes, right? Like, for example, with Jessica, Jessica Jones villain, the first one, the guy who can control, he should have, they really could have did something with him, stretched him out. He should have been like a Defenders level enemy or something like that, that maybe you could have gotten into, led him into Kingpin eventually. You know what I'm saying? So there were things that they could have done with certain villains that really, really, really would have got me like hitting in on the story, just so that I could turn around and be like, man, get this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really want to root for them. But after Endgame, almost every darn villain they got a sob story. They like, well, you know, man, my mama used to beat me, and my dad, you know, he was on drugs, and you know, I had problems, and my planet got blew up, and it's, you know, life was hard for me, man. So
who is a villain that has not had like a justification story in Marvel?
So what is Taskmaster's story, right? What was Taskmaster, right? What was that
Taskmaster? Taskmaster was an agent being controlled by the people who created the Black Widow program,
who we got to feel sorry for at the end.
Right?
We're not okay again.
Yeah, because she was a slave.
Another villain that you got to wind up being mad at, and then turn around and going, "Oh, I'm sorry, I hated you for."
No, I'm saying
101 minutes, and
I'm saying who didn't have a story like that. I feel like every villain had a story like that.
No, the Dark Elves were just evil. They were just bad. I just want to take over. I want this stone, and I want to fuck shit up. We want the darkness back.
From Thor?
Yeah, they just wanted the dark. They had no redeeming quality.
Didn't Odin steal Loki? Wasn't Loki their baby?
No, he was Loki's a frost giant baby.
Oh,
that was from the
wrong magic people.
Yeah, it's a lot of worlds. It's a lot of worlds. So Shang-Chi's dad. We're hating him. I like those, but this is what they kept doing, right? You go Eternals. All of a sudden, what's his name? The one who
in the group.
Yeah, the Superman clone eventually goes, you know something? I was wrong. I will fly into the sun and kill myself. Man, fuck out of here. Doctor Strange, Wanda, again, they'll never know what you've done for them. That you had them prisoner for months, and that you finally let them go.
I feel like even if you've done something bad, you can change is not a terrible message. It's a better message than we'll lock you up in Arkham and then you'll get out and Batman will come and fucking beat your ass and put you back in every 3-4 months.
No, I will watch NBC if you want to give me a villain that somehow is supposed to have some redemption arc. No, I'm paying $20 because I want to see somebody get their ass beat spectacularly after I hated them for 90 minutes. Like, that's what I want to see.
But then you can't bring people back, which is another thing you keep saying. You're frustrated by people not being able to come back, right?
Right, but you're writing it, the ones that are powerful enough, right? So take Gore the God Butcher. Thor should have had 2 or 3 movies where they could have been, this bad guy is killing off gods. Powerful beings that are powerful enough to be considered gods. And then somehow this is what Thor has to come up against and resolve. Instead, you make it that you get this sad dude with a sad backstory. My daughter died. I was hungry. The dude didn't understand why I was hungry. So now I'm just going to go on a killing spree until I get right to the end and somebody whips out the therapy jutsu and makes me feel bad for, I shouldn't have felt this way. I'm sorry, Thor. Can you take care of my daughter? No, I don't want that. Just be bad. Just go kill. Just get absorbed by the sword. Go on your killing spree. We hate you. You are super dangerous. Let's root against you. I'm going to cheer when they whoop your ass. We have not had a reason to cheer for a fight since the Spider-Man movies. Like we obviously we can't always replicate that in-game, Avengers Assemble moment, right? We're not always going to recreate that, but give me a reason to feel good that y'all won. Because at the end of recent Marvel movies, I always wind up feeling, y'all couldn't talk that through? Y'all couldn't work through that? Y'all couldn't figure that out? You couldn't give Wanda a couple more minutes and maybe she could have just, got rid of that and she's going to come back? Or we're not just going to punish her for fucking wiping out like 100 magicians? We're just letting this shit go? Like, why do we keep doing that? I get that we want to give the message of you can come back from certain things. Yeah, but you can't come back from a bunch of bodies. You gotta go. Right? She got bodies on. Is gone. Thankfully, but she's only gone because what? She decided, right? She got a heart and was like, I'm going to stop. I want to see my heroes be heroic and beat their ass. Win. I want to see them win.
Yeah, that's just a very personalized view of how heroes should win. Marvel always is, yeah, we're gonna beat your ass if we need to beat your ass. But like the real win is in like getting you to change your mindset.
That's what they want. Right, that's what Disney
that's
wants.
Loki's fault.
That's what Disney wants, right? But the thing is this is to the regular consumers and not them weirdos who got issues with people's gender or sexuality or race. Just the normal people who are losing that, that feeling of, man, I want my heroes, to have heroic heroes, to have standout characters, people that that I want to root for, and then people that I want to root against. I don't want to keep having to sit up here and go to a movie and wrestle with some sort of deep-rooted moral existentialist, conundrum that I got to work through in order for me to fully understand the movie. Like, that's the portion of things I don't want, that I don't want anymore. I can enjoy the movies for the spectacle, and I can sit there and I can watch the fighting, and when the CGI is good and not Black Widow-ish, then I'm happy. But if they're gonna keep on this route where it's every darn villain is just somehow somebody that's got some sob story and we should understand why they're doing this, and hopefully somebody talks them down after they did a whole bunch of bad shit, after they done killed 10,000 people and wiped away a village and blew up a building and did all this other shit that they should be punished for, then it's going to be tough for a lot of the audience to get back into it, into what made Marvel special. And what made Marvel special was they were heroes.
Well, that's what I said. They gotta get their hero lineup together.
Yeah.
I think with like Loki and Thanos and some of the other villains that got a little bit of pop, they got very villain happy, and they put a lot of emphasis in like finding different types of villains and all this other shit. And it's like, bruh, who are the new Avengers? Give me a hero and just don't kill the villain, because if they good, you can bring them back as something else. But like, I think that, like I said, I think that they took a step back. They realized what they was doing was not working a couple years ago, and we're starting to see things kind of, the tide kind of turn in terms of like understanding like just how connected things should be. Like the homework thing is like, nah, I I can't, because then if your movie comes out and I haven't seen the previous movie, now that's delaying me from going to see this movie, even though they don't have nothing to do with each other. It's like I talk to Sam about this all the time. Like with comic books, nobody reads every title. You read the characters you like, and then you come together for the big world altering events. So I think if people just look at it like, all right, these are the titles I enjoy, these are the titles I don't enjoy. I read the ones I like when the big events happen, when the Avengers movies come, when the Convergence movies come, Doctor Doom World, whatever they're gonna do, I'll be there for that, and I'll have enough information from what I've watched, and they do a good job, I think, of explaining stuff. And when people walk in who've never been in an Avengers movie, even if you've been in another show, it's still like, who the fuck are you? And they do a good job of that. Yeah. But I think the frustration was warranted, but I think a lot of people definitely like went overboard in the criticism and was criticizing stuff that was like a preference and not quality. Yeah. And they were allowing, I think it's interesting when I see people allowing their preference to impact their assessment of something's quality. And the Marvels was the thing for me that was just like, oh, these dudes really like, they just don't want to see no women doing shit except being saved. And Marvel is just not that kind of party. And I don't know why they would expect that at Marvel anyway. It's the comic books are not like that. The cartoons have never been like that. So this frustration with seeing powerful women is fascinating, because where the fuck have you been for the past like 50, 60 years of Marvel comics? Okay. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a ton of like fainting women who need to be like rescued and flown around the world like Lois Lane. Like, okay, hard news reporter. Yeah, okay. And when shit go left, she pushed the button on that watch just like everybody else who got that watch. So I think I would encourage people to kind of take that pandemic era with a grain of salt. It's like they had a bunch of plans that required people going to the movies, and people couldn't go to the movies for a little while, and they had to shift. So I think that they are finding a nice sweet spot between television, with X-Men cartoon. Hopefully we get more stuff that's in that vein. And yeah, I think, people just got to get over Taskmaster. She gonna be whooping ass in this movie. She was whooping ass in the Black Widow movie. But nobody want to, you know what I'm saying? People was mad because the costume wasn't bright blue and orange. She's a spy. She's a she's a like you gotta change like she Taskmaster is blue and orange in the comic book, so the color pops off the page and you could tell
There you go.
when they draw them at different sizes.
There you
It's
go.
not no tactical reason for him to be that color in the comic books. So as long as she got the cape and the basic silhouette, the skull mask,
Got the skull mask.
yeah, like you gotta get over that. That's when that goes back to adaptation. The Taskmaster costume has to make sense in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the Black Widow program give her a New York Knicks costume? Just like listen to how you sound.
He said a New York Knicks costume.
I was thinking
Ooh.
Florida Gators.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Both losers.
Whoa. All right, I don't know how much I can argue about the Knicks anyway, but yeah.
All right. Well, I think this has been a good discussion. I think we've gotten to, I think more importantly, RG has had some space to share his frustration with people who are willing to hear him out.
Yeah, and you know something, and both of you have definitely given me other perspectives to look at with some of the areas that I hate. So there's a little, I think my blood pressure went down. My systolic is down about three points right there.
So this is the part of the movie where the villain realizes the error of his ways and then he changes.
Turns over a new leaf.
Roll credits. You'll never appreciate what I've done for you. Remember that.
And RG, you mentioned blood pressure. I want to say this was a good idea, Jeffrey, because my job had my blood pressure on 200 today, and I needed to come down. So I appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent.
For sure. Anybody have any final thoughts?
Nah, I thought my last monologue was probably clip worthy. So
yeah.
Hopefully, I have a clip worthy moment.
No, you definitely do.
Yes.
I'm gonna go through and do some multiple clips from this one. All right, cool. Well, we're at the end of the show. This show don't really have a real name, so I can't. It's just a random recording. But yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the Facebook group up in the corner over Teresa's shoulder. Right. Yep. And we'll see you next time. Share the videos, like the videos, do whatever you want to do with the videos. Peace.